Joining us from Tel Aviv, columnist and retired diplomat Alon Pinkas. Thank you for speaking with us here on France 24.
Thank you, Francois. Always good to be with you.
Is Israel at war with Iran? We just heard the Israeli Prime Minister say it'll take as many days as necessary.
Yeah, he said that 20 months ago about the war in Gaza. So take him at his word that this may take some time, not because he knows, but because he doesn't know. And the duration or the length of this conflict at this point depends on the scale and scope of Iran's inevitable retaliatory strike. I mean, it's going to come. Whether or not it's going to be destructive and devastating, I hope not. Or whether or not it's going to be less than that, I don't know. But whether or not this takes a few days or a few weeks is at this point is up to Iran.
Up to Iran, and there is one of the main nuclear sites which reportedly is yet to be hit.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's going to take a few days, probably a few good weeks before we could do an intelligent damage assessment of Iran's nuclear facilities. We do know, we as you and I, not we Israel. I don't know what Israel knows. We do know that the Iranians have dug deep in the mountains into uranium enrichment sites that make them almost impregnable to bombs, at least to the type of munitions that Israel has. Now, what exactly was hit and the extent of the damage will take time to assess. Rafael Grossi, the head of the International Atomic Energy Agency, the IAEA, said that there are no radioactive signs being emitted from those sites, which means that they were not destroyed. On the other hand, Israel tends to, there's a tendency in Israel to listen to all these anonymous military sources that say that the reactor in Natanz, which is the largest enrichment installation or facility, has been destroyed. I doubt that, but again, I don't know. But let's just put one thing in context, because I heard Mr. Netanyahu in that passage or that footage that you just showed. Iran has been accelerating its enrichment process because Mr. Netanyahu encouraged Trump to withdraw unilaterally from the in 2018. He encouraged him to withdraw unilaterally from the 2015 nuclear deal. Had he not done so, we wouldn't be in this situation. Now, he may be right that this needed to be done. I'm not getting into that. That's a different question and a different conversation altogether. But the fact that Iran has been progressing, has been advancing, has been enriching more uranium, is capable of building, Mr. Netanyahu said 9 bombs. I don't know, maybe 4, maybe 6, that doesn't matter, is because the U.S. withdrew with Israel's encouragement from the nuclear deal, not for any other reason.
So you mentioned several of the key points there. That report by the International Atomic Energy Agency that came out this week, the fact that we were supposed to have this coming Sunday, nuclear talks, direct talks between the United States and Iran in Muscat. When Prime Minister Netanyahu talks about this being a preemptive operation, is he justified in carrying it out?
In his mind, yes, but that also reflects a messianic state of mind that he is when it comes to Iran. He thinks of Iran as Hitler and himself as a Winston Churchill. He thinks of Iran as a existential threat not only to Israel but to Western civilization, and he thinks of himself and bragged for years about being the protector of Israel, an image that was shattered on October 7, 2023. Now, there are two ways of looking at it. One is that he needed to do this in order to correct his place in history that was almost indelibly tarnished on October 7, 2023. And the second is that it is indeed preemptive, that Iran and the U.S. were on the verge or on the brink of signing an agreement that in his mind was bad. That raises another question that I don't know if we have the time or if you intended to ask, Francois, and that is, did the U.S. know and when did it know about all this? And is it complicit or not? Because there are two competing narratives.
I want to get to that point, Alon Pinkas, but let me first. I'll pick up on the point you've just made because it's a really important one. With Noga Tarnapovsky, our correspondent there, this idea that this somehow personally redresses the deep misgivings of the Israeli public when it came to the failings of October 7th. Right now, Noga Tarnapovsky, we see that in Israel, the initial reactions that I've been seeing from the outside haven't been so much of whether or not this is a good thing. It's more just been, well, have I got enough, like you said, enough water and food stocked up at home? Too early to say how Israeli public feels, whether this attack was justified?
I think it is too early to say. But I think this is one of those very rare cases in which security needs, whatever their original sources, but genuine security needs and genuine political protection needs have kind of joined together in a junction. I spoke just 2 days ago in the Knesset with a veteran Israeli legislator, Ahmad Tibi, and he told me at that time, obviously before we knew this would happen, that in his view, Netanyahu was certain that the one thing that could win him this election, a next election, despite his very deep unpopularity, is an attack. He said that he didn't think Netanyahu would undertake it without an okay from the U.S., but he was very sure about that. And today we're reading Ben Caspit, a journalist and the biographer of Benjamin Netanyahu, saying that behind closed doors today, Netanyahu is in a sort of euphoria, that he sees an end to all the wars, all Arab nations joining the Abraham Accords, something connected to Alon's version of this almost messianic view of himself versus Iran. Of course, this operation today is not ending today, and we don't know exactly how it's still going to advance. But for now, it does appear that genuine security needs have come together with very important political needs of the Prime Minister.
Important political needs. Alon Pinkas, when we woke up here in Europe after these attacks, we were reading the comments from the State Department saying, we're not a part of this. And now we're seeing tweets from Donald Trump saying it's a great thing that these attacks have happened.
To conceal the fact that he was effectively humiliated by Mr. Netanyahu's defiance. I mean, a day ago, 24 hours ago, here was the President of the United States saying in his own voice, I urge Israel not to attack while negotiations are being held. And as you pointed out to earlier, Francois, and the next round of negotiations is scheduled for Sunday. This Sunday, 2 days from now. And then all of a sudden, Israel attacks, and quickly the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, disassociates and distances himself from it and says, whoa, we're not complicit in this. This is not us. This is a unilateral Israeli action. Then the U.S. says, well, we were notified. We were apprised, but we were not consulted. And now you just showed Mr. Trump's post in his social net. I'm sorry, in his social network, calling this excellent. Now, there is a possibility that in Trump's mind, this would actually, I think he's going to be proven wrong, but give him the benefit of the doubt. He thinks that this approach by him, that this had to be done in order to push the Iranians to be more forthcoming and conciliatory in their negotiations, is actually a good thing, that now Iran will come back to the negotiating table. He either doesn't understand how the Iranians think or is just expressing some unfounded wishful thinking, because I just don't see that happening. Maybe in the next 2 months, but certainly not in the next few days.
And Alon Pinkas, on that euphoria that Noga Tarnapovsky was describing on the part of the Israeli Prime Minister, if it was 2018 at a time when relations between Saudi Arabia and Iran were at a low, for certain there would have been some quiet celebrations in Riyadh. Is that still the case today, though?
No, look, I don't think that the Saudis are losing sleep or being, or feeling bad about what happened. But I do think they have every reason to be anxious, because if this deteriorates, if this escalates, they could be in the crossfire. The Hormuz Straits may be shut. The Iranians, in some scenarios, which seem unlikely now, but who knows how this is going to develop. In some scenario, the Iranians may attack oil refineries and oil terminals in Saudi Arabia. You wouldn't think this is possible. You would think that the Iranians would be rational and would not provoke neither the U.S. nor the Saudis, nor for that matter, the Emiratis and the Qataris. But you don't know if the Iranians perceive this to be a moment in which the regime is being existentially threatened, meaning that Israel may not call it that way, the U.S. may not call it that way, but both are intent on bringing about regime change in Iran, then all bets are off in terms of making rational decisions. So I think the Saudis would be happy that this happened, or sort of, subduedly happy if this happened and ended today, but it won't.